I think it's several reasons for that. First of all, most of the people are talking about textiles, and most of them come from the approach that they want to make fashion or whatever, but they don't want to speak about formulas. And this is the one side of the story. The other side of the story, from my understanding, is that beside all the positive things the chemical industry has done in the past, they always try to keep some secrets for themselves, and I don't want to say that they keep the other side stupid, but yes, somehow they gave as little knowledge and information as possible, and so you cannot speak about trust and relationship under this. I think really openness and transparency are the keywords. Coming back to my lecture from today, talking about fluorocarbons, just think about the history. 20 years ago, people were coming and telling you this chemistry is safe, it's the best thing, and you need that. Then in 2002, they say, okay, PFOS is a negative thing, but we are the good ones, we don't have that. Then they say, now we regulated PFOA content in our products down to 0.1%. Oh, I didn't even know that you have it inside. But yeah, everything is safe. 2 years later, they come and say, we change you from C8 to C6. Hey, if C8 wasn't hazardous, why do you do the change? And so sometimes I have the feeling that the truth was always given in small portions. When you have enough pressure, you come up with the truth. And this doesn't really enforce a trustful relationship.
Is it a supply chain or is it a consumer's mission?
Both. I think both. A lot of things have changed. First, of course, under REACH as one part of the story, but second, also, I think with NGOs. In technical textile, from my understanding, the world is still a difference because it's not under the public focus. But if people like Greenpeace go for a brand, the brand will try to know as much as possible, and they will not give the business to someone if they don't tell them in which situation they are. So suddenly these two are in one boat, and I think to bring that on a professional level like ZDHC or Bluesign or some other or Oekotex or whatever is a good idea. And two difficult questions to answer, because what I tried really today is to give some background information, because even talking to people whom I think that they should know the topic, they are using the wrong wording, and it's what I do not really like is the generalization that people say all fluorocarbons are hazardous. It's if I would say all insects are bad and hazardous, because I know some mosquitoes which bring malaria or other diseases, but there is also the honeybee. And the same is about chemicals. The devil sits in the details. And if you want to have an eye-to-eye discussion and to do the right thing, then you really have to come to the chemical details. And that's also what I tried to point out today. There are many applications where I don't see an alternative to fluorocarbon. So workwear in some special cases, surgeon garments, firefighting uniforms. If a surgeon has a fabric, it should be breathable and it should be blood repellent. It's for his and your safety if you need him. And if all fluorocarbons are banned because people mix up and say fluorocarbon is bad, then as a society we will lose. So I really put a lot of effort on it to say this is the differentiation between something which is really hazardous and we should go out and we should do it completely, and something which is actually still the best available technology where the risk is lower than the positive outcome for a society. And I think it's always good to have a third party involved in that case, because otherwise we are in the situation that you say I, as a chemist, say this is non-hazardous. You shouldn't believe that. You should have somebody independent looking closer at it. And so I think this game is quite good, that you have some chemical industry, that you have some brands who suddenly care about their supply chain, and on the other hand we have third-party experts who do all the studies, who read that and give recommendations. Because we also learned, if there is no public pressure, the brands will not move. As I said also today in the lecture, we had the first fluorine-free version in 2004, and nobody did care because fluor was available, it was comfortable, and it was cheap, and it did the job. So I don't pay 2 cents more or have less performance. There were only a very few small Swedish textile manufacturers who went this way. I have, if you're talking about fastness, it's the small brands. It was Klettermusen in 2004 who did that. It's small independent companies who said, I understood, I want to change something, and I do it now. I really like the style, but it doesn't really change the society. You need the big brands to do a big change, and we also found that one of our first, we got one of the big brands a few years ago, and that was the proof for all the others that you can do business with that. If they do it, and if they don't have complaints, and if they are accepted in the market, then others were following. And so I think you really need both. You need the small, independent for the quick success and to learn and to get the negative and the positive experience, to improve the process, to improve the product. It's a learning curve. And on the other hand, if you have the big companies, of course, as a company for us, it's good because we have no business, but it's also that the others see it is market solid, successful. Yeah.
What do they have to communicate? What is the message?
I think to the consumer it is good if it has a hang tag and a label. For us as a chemical industry, at the beginning I was very happy if we have somebody independent, as I explained before, who says, yes, I proved that, I checked that, I believe in that chemistry, and I take also somebody, I take a little bit of responsibility also on my shoulders. The thing that's difficult today for me is, especially for the innovative companies like we are, all the labels are also commercial organizations, they have to make money. And so we have ZDHC, we have Bluesign, we have Green Screen, we have Oekotex, and so on. And none of them accepts the results from the other one. So if I really have a new and very green chemistry, I cannot afford to bring it in the market, not because of the R&D costs or the production costs, but really because each of our branded customer wants to have a different certification. The ones want to have green screen, the other ones that and that and that and that. And so we pay the amount again and again and again. And the world is not getting better. And so my fundamental idea and question would be that we have one industrial standard and say we agree on this, and it's one standard. If this is ZDHC or Bluesign or whatever, I don't care. It's not in my discussion. Or even better, if we want to have a competition, that we do modularize it. So we have modules and say, if you have this chemical screening, it will be accepted by the other ones. And you will not be charged twice or 3 times. Because, for example, we had one special label. I don't know if label is not the right word, certification system. And they said all they do is they look up for the data in the internet, which data are available from product safety data sheet, and we have to give them the components. And for one environmental friendly product, it was roughly 40,000 euros. A reasonable amount of money. But the outcome would have been a disaster, because to those components which have been new, they just said, we didn't find something, so it might be harmful. So each new product gets the hang tag harmful or possibly harmful. And that's not the information I want to give. forget, this is not helpful for anybody. Their job would be to say, out of the data we have, we make studies or we check if it's harmful or not, but not to say, oh, it's unknown, so it might be harmful, don't use it, because this is against every progress, against every R&D. Then we have a limited amount of chemistry, no success.